Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff with Fluent American, and today we're taking a look at the most mispronounced words that I encounter with students in my classes or just questions that I get and things like that. So, as I go through this, if there are words that come to mind for you that you have some questions about in terms of pronunciation, this is definitely a perfect time to let me know in the comments. I have the window open. I'll be paying attention to them. Okay, so again, if you have a word that you have some questions about for pronunciation, let me know. Otherwise, let's take a look at the words that, again, some of my students often struggle with. Starting with TH sounds. I was actually recently asked about that first pair you see about author and Arthur. But just some quick reminders about those THs. I know they can be challenging. A lot of people, when they're taught about THs, what they're taught is that your tongue has to go in between your teeth. So a lot of times it's like, and again, you can see my tongue there, which is fine. You can make a TH doing that. But I think what you'll encounter is that it becomes difficult to transition to other sounds if your tongue is like right in the middle there. So to make transitions to other sounds a little bit easier, what I suggest is instead just very lightly pressing the tip or the front of your tongue against your top front tooth. So you want it to be behind that tooth. So for instance, when I say like, notice again, my tongue isn't so far out. It's not like, it's more, and that is enough contact to get the sound you need. Okay, it's not a stop. It's not a hard consonant. It's not like a t. It's not like a d. You should always feel air moving through. Okay, if you're not feeling that air move through, that means maybe you're pressing too hard. So go a little bit lighter. And let's kind of look at some of these words, just some example words. Our first one, author, author. Also note that make sure that the vowel sounds are more important. So if you have a word with THs, remember to try to get the vowel sound clear first. Then you can worry about the TH. So author, worry about that aw sound first. That's more important. And then you can worry about that last part, the thir, thir, author, author. If words like this, or any word, is hard to pronounce, another thing that you can do, a strategy, is to break it down a little bit. So author, 2 syllables. Let's do each syllable slowly. It's like author, author, author. And then you can speed it up, like author, 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 author. Okay, so that's another way to kind of practice words that you find to be more difficult. Let's compare this to the second word here, Arthur, Arthur. So again, you see that R and then you see that TH after it, and sometimes students freak out. So my suggestion is, pronounce the R sound first, then you can worry about the TH. R, Arthur, Arthur. Hey Rana, thanks for joining us. Of course, if you have some questions about words, be sure to let me know. Okay, so let's say these 2 words again. Author and Arthur. Author and Arthur. How about our next one? Other. Other. So this TH is different because you're going to feel some vibration in your throat now. Okay, so it's not other, it's other. You feel that vibration. Other, it's voiced. Another thing too with this is, we'll talk about it later, but that O sound is a schwa, so it's not other, it's other. Notice the difference between ah and ah, Notice how much more closed my mouth is. The mid back of my tongue is high, the front of my tongue is down, and the very back of my tongue is down. Other, other. So again, not other, more other. And our last word here with the TH, a tricky sort of cluster here with the TH and then the S, months, months. You need to hear both the TH, that month, and the S, months, months. And this goes back to what I had said originally. If you are just kind of lightly pressing against the back of your top front tooth, that's going to make sliding up into the S position easier. Like months. Record yourself, and if you only hear the TH sound, make sure that you add an S sound after it. That's a huge issue I see with lots of students. Not an easy transition. That's also one that we have a full video dedicated to. So if you're having trouble with months or like paths, other THS sounds, definitely want to check out our THS video. If you think of some other TH words that are hard to say, be sure to let me know in the comments or in our chat box. But for now, we're moving on to T sounds. In fact, last week we talked about T sounds, specifically all the T sounds, all 4 of them. But this tends to be a tricky sound for a lot of students in American English. And again, it's like making a D sound, but very quickly. And in fact, you don't even need to make contact. You can just raise and lower your tongue very quickly. So for instance, the first word, better, better. Also note that you're holding that R sound, better, make sure that R sound is strong enough at the end. Better, better. How about our second word here? I was asked about this word. Battery, battery, battery. So not battery. You're more likely to hear battery. Another note here, when you have a word that ends on a Y, just make sure you're holding that long I sound long enough. What I see with a lot of students is they reduce it. They say like battery, like instead of E, battery. That's the sound you're looking for. Battery, battery. Or for instance, this last word here, little, little. Okay, this is the case especially of like a fast D sound where you don't need to make contact with the top of your mouth. Just need to raise and lower your tongue very quickly. Little, little. You can see even with my mouth here, mouth open, but then when I get to that dull part, it's going to shut. Little, little. Notice that that shutting motion when your mouth closes on the dull sound. Okay, you want that snap yourself. And of course, again, if you think of some other words that have these fast D's or flat T's, be sure to let me know. But this tends to be a tricky one. Also, because of that I sound, that's a short I. So again, it should sound like eh. Like for instance, like in sit, or quit. I think with the short I sounds, just real quick reminders. Front of your tongue is down, back of your tongue is down, middle of your tongue is slightly high, sides of your tongue touching your top teeth on either side. Again, like little. We'll talk more about that sound soon. Okay. Also, quick reminders, if you're finding things like this helpful about words and things, this is what we do every single day in our Patreon group. So you can see that in that middle option. You join, I send you a link to our Telegram group, and then every day we do pronunciation practice like this. So if that sounds like something that you'd be interested in getting, you have 2 or 3 minutes every day and you want to get some pronunciation practice in, feel like you're making improvement, then Telegram group is definitely for you. You can check out more at patreon.com/fluentamerican. Next type of sound that's difficult for so many of my students is this ah sound, like in cat, ah, where the back of your tongue is down, front of your tongue is down, middle of your tongue is slightly raised, and your mouth is wide. And again, sounds like ah. But if you've been following our videos a while, you know that when you add a nasal to this, what's a nasal? Nasal is like the letter N, or the letter M, or the letter is NG. When you add these nasals after it, that ah sound's going to change. So for instance, instead of saying man, it's more man. You can feel your tongue sliding back, and then you get a heavy breath out of your nose before the N. Man. Just like that snap that we talked about for the fast D, you can see it here too. Man. Try to get that sound. And then heavy breath out of your nose and close your mouth more. Man. Or plan. Or answer. So again, man, plan, answer. It's a difficult sound. It's pretty common. These A-N, A-M, A-N-G combinations are pretty common in English. So it's definitely a sound that I would encourage reviewing. And it's definitely one we talk about. So we have a full video on this if you're looking for more practice on that and sound. Yeah, Ron, I thought it was you that was asking about battery before. I was like, I know someone asked about this. I remember seeing the comment, but who was it? I thought it was Ron. I'm glad. If you have other questions for me about battery, let me know if that's not clear. Next one, L sounds at the ends of words. And this tends to be a sound that students don't even realize they're necessarily mispronouncing. But you can hear it, for instance, in that middle word, like people, people. What I often hear from students is like people, people, that type of sound. And what you want to do instead is it's going to be more all, almost like that sound like in book or good, just all like in full. You want to lower the front of your tongue. Hold the front of your tongue down against like the bottom of your mouth, okay? Also notice that my mouth is mostly closed. So like that pull. What I'm doing is I'm pressing the corners of my lips together. That can help make sure that my mouth doesn't open too wide. And again, it's like all, people, that middle word. Or for instance, the first word, example. So it's not example, it's example. Or for instance, the last word, table. All of these again, example, people, table. Also note for example, this is an example of the previous sound that we talked about, the nasal, am. So you get that a sound plus the m. Like I said, these things are everywhere. So it's not example, it's example. So watch out for words that are ending on the pull sound. Just close your mouth more, lower that front of your tongue, and it's going to make you sound a little bit more natural. The schwa sound, that sound, like words like fun, or like but, or like glove, These sounds. In English, most common vowel sound, whether it's stressed or whether it's reduced. You want to make sure you're pronouncing it clearly. How can you do that? Relax your mouth more. It's not tense. Everything's very relaxed. Just have like a neutral expression on your face. Then what you're going to do, you want to lower the front of your tongue, raise like the mid back of your tongue, and then lower the very back of your tongue. And then everything is relaxed, like I said. I think it should be more like what I see with a lot of students, especially for my students in Asia, there tends to be a little bit of difficulty with this sound, especially at the ends of words. Let's practice some of these. Idea. Notice that sound at the end of idea. You want to hold it long enough. Don't rush it. It's not idea. It's idea. Hold that sound. Same thing with countries that end with this, like China, or like Russia, America, Canada. These countries that end in an just hold that last syllable just a little bit longer. It's really going to help. Also, we talked about this word earlier, other. So it's not other, it's other. I think every student I've had, almost not exaggerating, has mispronounced this as like other, but again, it's other. Some more words that have this too, though. Because. So it's not because, it's because. Or the last word here, was. So it's not was, it's more was. Control your mouth, close it more. Okay. Let's read through these one last time. Idea, China, other, because, was. Again, those are your good words with schwa sounds. Probably the hardest vowel that I see with students, though, is going to be the short I, which we mentioned earlier with the word little. Okay, and again, like we said, back of your tongue down, front of your tongue down, sides of your tongue touching your top teeth. Your mouth doesn't need to be super wide. Again, it sounds like eh. So for instance, that first word should be live, not leave. So it's not leave, it's not e, it's I, the short I sound. Live. Or for instance, that second word, is. So again, it's not ease, it's more is. Or the next one, city. This is tricky for a couple of reasons. First reason, again, you have that short I. Second reason is you have that fast D sound on the T, so like sid. And then you're finishing with the long I, the city. What students want to do is they want to pronounce it like CD or something like that, where you have two long I's. And I get it, this is a very common issue with words that have a short I and a long I that are close to each other, is the long I tends to take over the word. It's very easy, right? It's not a whole lot of space. But yeah, you really want to make sure you're getting that short I and city on that first syllable. City, not CD, city. Same thing with the country. One of the hardest country names, it seems to be. Italy, Italy, starting with the short I sound, then getting a fast D sound and a schwa, and then finishing with that long I. Italy, 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 Italy. Italy is another case where that fast D sound really doesn't need to make contact with the top of your mouth. It's just Italy, Italy. Okay. If you're saying Italy or Italy or things like that, not quite what you're going to hear in the U.S. You're more likely to hear Italy, Italy. All right, if things like this were helpful with these words, I strongly encourage you to, again, join our Telegram group. We practice words like this every single day. But also, if you want some more dedicated one-on-one practice, you can also schedule a class at fluentamerican.com, and then clicking on the lessons tab, and then you'll see my calendar, and you can adjust and pick a time that works for you. But yeah, so if going over sounds like this is helpful, I definitely encourage you to check out our website. But let's kind of just review all the sounds one last time. Also give you a chance if there's some words I did not mention that you think are difficult. Be sure to put them in the chat box so that way I can respond and give some tips for pronunciation before we head out today. So again, our first combination was with THs, THRs, THSs, like for instance, author, Arthur, other, months, combinations like that. Second one with the fast D, flap T. We got Rana's word in here. Better, battery, and little. Better, battery, little. Our A sound plus our nasals. So again, man, plan, answer. Also our final L's. It's not it's more ol. Example, people, table. Also words with schwas, holding those schwas at the end of the word longer. So for instance, China, idea, other, because, was. Words with the short I sound. So again, live, is, city, Italy. And that was it. Cool. I'll stay on just for another moment, just in case some people have some other words they want me to want some feedback on. But again, these are definitely words that I find when I'm teaching students. There's always words that appear in classes, like no matter where the student's from, no matter who the student is, these are words that always seem to come up. So these are definitely some of the most common ones I've seen. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Our next video is going to be coming out tomorrow. It's going to be talking about how to pronounce letters of the alphabet, which sounds very simple, but there's actually a lot of letters. When you do your ABCs, there's a couple letters in there that students are actually mispronouncing or tend to mispronounce. So we're going to identify some of the most common letters to make sure, if you need to spell something or you need to say an acronym or abbreviation with a letter, you want to make sure you're pronouncing them correctly. So I'll have that video out for you tomorrow. And of course, if you have future videos that you would like to see, be sure to let me know. Thank you guys so much for your time. I always appreciate it. I hope you have a good day, have a good night, and a good afternoon. You guys take care.